This is your tutor Nikhil from SBR. Few exam tips to keep in mind for your December 2023 exam. Remember, question 1 of your exam is consolidation. You're well versed with all the different styles, cash flows, forex subsidiaries, step acquisitions, disposals, income statement. Although that might sound a lot, make sure you know we've done questions on that. So make sure you're comfortable with each of those topics. It's 30 marks, 60 minutes, 2 minutes per mark. Please remember, don't overrun on time. Usually people are spending much more time than needed. 60 minutes only. Question 2 is ethics, which is the favorite question. I tell you to start with that question. It has ethics with accounting standards. You must apply the ethical principles. Don't just copy paste all the ethical 5 principles, but apply it. Where is it in the scenario they're being dishonest, not competent? Remember to give the action points as well. Question 3 and 4 is called section B. You have 3 things there. One is accounting standards through case studies. Please remember the process there. Write the knowledge and then the application. Writing from the case study. Talking about the scenario from case study. Do not copy and paste the information, but write your own words. Always say what if. Give the implication. Remember that. Also in that question 3, 4, you have in questions 4 specifically, you have some articles. Please make sure you are well versed with the articles, especially about climate change, sustainability, talks about business model. All of these elements you are comfortable with, along with, don't ignore the additional performance measures as well. Whilst doing all of that, remember the order. Do question 2 first, then question 1, then question 4, which has the article, and then question 3. Keep your time in check, 2 minutes per mark, and the most important thing is do not panic. If you don't know something, that's okay. Just move on, stay positive, and wish you all the best for the exam.
Hello everyone, I'm here to tell you a few things before your SBL exam. As you know, the pre-scene is out. Familiarize yourself with the pre-scene if you haven't done so already, but please do this with some caution. Although you're required to know the pre-scene, you still have to spend time practicing questions so that you are comfortable writing answers. Do not try to overanalyze the pre-scene and waste time thinking about what questions you may get in the exam. The tasks will most likely be based on the unseen information that you receive on the day of the exam. Manage your time effectively. Do not spend more than 45 minutes to read the exhibits and plan your answer. So when you're practicing questions, make sure that you practice questions to time, 3 hours and 15 minutes. Remember not to simply state knowledge in the exam. It has to be in the context of the scenario. There might be a question that you're not too sure of, but please don't panic. Think about what the requirement means and answer this question logically. All the best for your exam.
Hi everyone, this is Vignesh from Phoenix Financial Training, here to share some final words of advice with respect to the December 2023 Advanced Financial Management exam that you will be walking into very, very soon. The first tip, the most obvious one, make sure you manage time, spread it out evenly across the questions. We've discussed even during the revision courses, you need to allocate time based on the marks and move on once the time is exhausted. Practice this as you do your mock exams, so you just don't remember the way to manage time, but you've also tried and tested it and made necessary adjustments. Stick to known templates. There are many questions that tend to come up again and again: foreign NPV, APV, valuation of acquisitions, risk questions. When you see a question of a known style, put in your standard template, plug in the numbers. Even the examining team has indicated that this tends to sort of work well and people tend to score good marks when they do that. There will be a slight bits of variations in few places, but you can always make those adjustments. The key is to get the core, the basics right, which you will when you follow this approach in the numerical elements. For the discussion elements, you get a range of questions on ethical issues, assumptions, factors to consider, and also some straightforward theory elements. Make sure you devote enough time based on the marks, and even on the elements where you're asked to discuss your numbers. You don't need to write exotic points all the time. Make some basic points. What is important, you make a reasonable attempt and not leave parts of discussion alone. Whatever you're able to come up with based on the scenario, based on your commercial acumen, put that down. Remember, you got to do the discussion elements reasonably well to score the professional marks as well. Finally, stay confident, approach the exam with a winning mindset. This is a long journey of 3 hours and 15 minutes. 1 or 2 requirements might be tricky. That should not demotivate you on the other requirements. You need to approach it with a degree of confidence, and I'm sure that will help you do really well in the exam. Good luck. Hi there, this is Vignesh from Phoenix Financial Training, here to share some final words of advice and few tips relevant to the APM December 2023 exam. The biggest challenge with APM is understanding the requirement, and I start with a tip that may help you address that. Make sure you spend a couple of extra minutes trying to pick out the requirement and break it up into various subparts. Often requirements worth 10, 15, 18 marks may have 2 to 3 different elements. Attack the subpart that you can address well. There may be one tricky subpart in the question. Don't let that distract you from the others. Even if you don't do that subpart as well, if you've done well on the others, you would have passed that question. Try to use examples to illustrate your points where possible. I appreciate that may not be possible everywhere. Under exam pressure, you can't think of examples everywhere, but try to produce answers that uses scenario information. And obviously, lots of question practice helps you improve that skill set. And that's the reason we practice questions. Stick to the requirement. Now, when you're asked to evaluate indicators, just do that. You're not expected to suggest. When you're asked to suggest KPIs with a justification, make sure you justify the indicators. Whatever is asked, stick to the mandate. Sometimes there's a tendency to give unsolicited, unnecessary advice. Unless you're asked for a recommendation, unless you're asked for advice, don't get into that mode. Remember, not every problem requires your solutions. Maybe they just want an analysis of the issue or the indicators, so stick to the requirement. Finally, it's not about acing every question and scoring 100% marks. Look to produce reasonable answers on every question. And if you can pass every requirement individually, which is essentially just scoring 50% marks on every question, that by itself has gotten you a pass in the examination. Obviously, we aim for higher, but the fundamental building block of our preparation is to produce reasonably good answers on every question. Good luck.
Hi guys, this is Sarah Kilani, AAA tutor, and these are the exam tips for December 2023. To pass the exam, here are a few tips on knowledge, exam techniques, and time management. Ensure that you are comfortable with all of the theory and is able to apply it. Now, we know that this is a very highly application-based paper. However, the knowledge is important. This comes with practice, so make sure you complete all of the questions that we did in revision, as well as the ones assigned. Focus on all types of questions. Section A questions as well as Section B questions. Remember, you will be getting different questions in the exam. Focus on perfecting your answers for the risks question. We know it's around 25% of the exam. And we also know the style of the question, how we're going to write it. And this will provide you with more flexibility if you face a question that you are not so comfortable with. Second exam technique. This is a long exam, and therefore it's important to approach it smart. Start with the question you are comfortable with, which is likely to be question number 1. Make sure that while you're reading the question, you are writing your points, even if it's just a plan. Make sure you follow the structure of answer, like for example, audit risk. Make sure you include the issue, materiality assessment, the accounting standard, the risk, and the financial statements implication. Attempt all questions, even if not fully, and try to ensure to always answer the requirement. Do not drift off into what you know best and focus what the examiner is actually asking. This is really important for the professional marks. Try to use different calculations such as variances, the analytical procedures, and so on as much as you can. It will get you both technical and professional marks. Finally, time. We know the exam is really time pressured, which is why you need to be strict with yourself. Try not to pause or get distracted. Try to always write while you're reading. If your time is up, like for example in question number 1, you know that it's only an hour and a half, maybe give yourself an extra 5 to 10 minutes if you are in the middle of the answer and you are confident with the answer that you are actually writing. However, otherwise, please move on. Practicing will help with this as you'll gain experience in identifying risks and issues, and your answer will come quicker to you. Finally, practice makes perfect. So relax, do your best, guys, and I wish you the best of luck.